Welcome back, people. Welcome to Adventures with Motive. Saturday today, put the film up yesterday. Got good results on that so far, so thank you for the thumbs up and the comments. One of the comments was about leaving everything out of the truck until it's finished so I don't de-dust it up, and my reply was problem is I'm over clogged in just about every room, and I'll give you a prime example of that right now. This is just one corner of the living room which has been taken up by van stuff, and then I have another one down there, so we're in a bit of a mess, and she's giving me a right headache about these because one of them's got broken glass underneath it and it keeps going on the floor, and she come down here one night barefoot, cut foot and all the rest of it. So today's project, which is Saturday, I'm just solely dedicating this whole video to this job and nothing else. We're putting the passenger seat in first, and there is the double seat removed. Now I am lucky in the sense I have discovered, because there's a cubby box of tools under this which is there, but I have enough bolting points on the floor, as you can see there and another one there and another one there, that I can actually cut this tubing out and lose that centre seat completely, which I was a bit concerned that I weren't going to be able to. Problem is I won't be able to access this, which I need to. So one of the things I'm thinking about doing is cutting a hole out in here and putting a little locker flap doorway or something on it. I don't think I need to do much more than that to it. So we're going to get that cover plate off, because I don't know if that's going to be relevant to my usage, because I'm not going for ministry MOT on this. I'm going to register as a camper van. That's the initial plan. We still get to retain the seatbelt clips there as well, with a bit of luck. I don't want to cut too much off this, but we'll see where this ends up first, and then that way I can just bolt and weld the seat on in place. So we're going to have to put some angle iron across there, I reckon, and drill some new holes for the BMW seat to fit, and then we can lift that in. But that's got to go in the back garden, so I can do it out there. I don't want to do it out the front. Appreciate when you move seats and you've seen clean areas of floors to the actual mess that the floor has got into over the years of not doing anything. We've got curtains to put up against that wall, and I've got some Vela to put up there with a bit of luck if I can get it to work, but these cupboards are in the way. Ideally I should pull that down, but I've already had that down once before, and trust me, please trust me, it's a blinking nightmare. It really is. That is heavy on its own, and trying to get that up there on your own is not easy, but I have got access underneath that anyway, because when I cut hole out, I went and cut too much metal out, and the two inner holes there haven't got anything holding it up. There's only two screws holding it up at the moment, so we could go over a big bump and the whole lot come crashing down on top of me while I'm driving, so we need to sort that as well. So this is going to be the first seat to be done. I think that one's going to be slightly harder, but we'll see. Get these nasty seats gone, we'll strip the foam off and get them ready for scrap. There's not much left of it. That is it, that's all that's left. It's upside down at the moment, but we've cut a slit in the side for access. We've got the 4 bolt holes still in place. I've managed to retain the seatbelt bracket, although the bracket on this side is now gone. I had to cut that off, but that's not a big deal at all, actually. I do wish, if anyone's doing this, I would leave a little bit more tubing on there to play around with. I went and flushed it off there, and I wish I hadn't now, because that's proven a bit of a nuisance. Turn the seat upside down. We're going to stick a rag over the top of the electrics, and we're going to weld to these pieces. The reason being is I ain't got the bolts, never had them handed to me. I don't really want to weld tabs on that anyway, and I'd much prefer to have this welded on both sides of a can. So we just got to get the grinder, clean up some of this powder coat and sort that all out, and then I can start removing some of the junk that's not needed, like this cylinder here for starters. And on this side, the new anchor point is going to be that, so we're going to get that bolt off from the inside so we can put our new seatbelt attachment to that. I've trimmed this piece up. I temporarily took the plastic cover off that. That will go back on. And that is pretty much it for the moment. I mean, you get to see everything that's going on in here, don't you? I'm assuming this is the memory for that row of buttons that I was told about on the internet. So, oh, 2 questions I would like answered. If anyone knows the answer to these, I'd be grateful. Firstly, on this seat, is there heating elements in there? And if so, how does that work? Does it come off a computer under the dash somewhere, or can I put wires in the switch straight to them? Second question is, I've got a data tag that I took off the side of the seat here. Is that important for the MOT, bearing in mind I'm registering as a camper van? And what does that tag thing do? You know, what does it represent? Is it important? Thank you. Right, we'll do the rest of this in a minute. There you go, first seat is in. There's just one small little problem. It's too high, way too high. Poor little old lady, she sit on that and her legs are dangling. So I said, do you want me to lower it? She said no, she's quite happy about that, but I'm a little worried about it because up there is where that cupboard is and her head just misses that. If we have a road accident and the seatbelt fails, she could be headbutting that, and that's going to bloody hurt. So I'm hoping that the mechanism isn't all the way down, but I've got a feeling it is. I'm hoping this will lower itself just a tiny bit more, and we won't know that until I power it up. If it will come down a little bit further, then that's great. The seat is for her and her only, so I haven't really got to worry about anybody else. We'll touch up the black paint, but it's there. But I've sat in it, and you do feel high up, really high up. Unfortunately, we sustained some damage. Scratched it on the table when it was moving around. But we have a captain's seat on one side. Seatbelt bracket is all in. The seatbelt point on the other side is all fixed. So it's there somewhere. There it is. Down there. So we'll get the seat pushed back further. There's plenty of room to go back. There's just not a lot to go forward. Hence all of that, but it'll be fine. I'll get a headrest sorted out. Tomorrow we'll pick up on that one and get that one sorted out, and that one's going to be a little bit more trickier because I have got to keep that at its lowest point where it is there. Have to, otherwise I'm not going to be able to operate the lorry properly. So yeah, we'll see where we end up, but because this one's higher than mine, when I put my pod on here for stuff, she should still see over. I think everything will be fine in the long run. We'll get them wired in as soon as I possibly can. Still out here. Young Aaron turned up the other day. Something he found down tip. Brought this to me, as he put it. It's a bit of a cheap arsehole thing, but I like it myself personally. I like it a lot because I can do stuff with it, because it's all bolted, not welded. It is just been built for show, nothing more. It's very thin material. I mean, if you hit something with that, it would just crumble to pieces. So the plan is, we're going to cut it in the middle, extend it out that way, lose the bottom bar, put a stronger bar in, and bolt it at that point there, and then we'll put an extension on that so we can get a bigger headlight area, and then we'll slide these further down to about here somewhere, hopefully roughly to where the welds start. So we can keep that bit nice and chrome. We can paint that bit black, the bottom one black, and then we'll make up some heavy duty brackets that can go through the bumper, so as it will sit at the bottom point, and we'll chop off all of this lot at the bottom, get rid of all of that because we don't need it, and then we'll have a nice little bull bar around the headlights, which is something I wanted for this, but I don't know, I don't think they make that sort of stuff for these lorries anymore. Government are a bit itchy about it all, but you know, my lorry is not commercial, so, and that's what I pretty much want for it. So yeah, don't normally work through the weekend as a rule, but I'm going to do the other seat now. And those armrests are still wonky. I'm going to redo the other one. I'm going to take that one out later when I've done this one. I'm going to cut the base down because it is sitting way too high in that truck. safety factor. I'm worried she'll headbutt the unit. So this is going to be a little more difficult because there's such a wide width on that seat where the rails are compared to this one. This is quite narrow, as you can see, they're skinny. But I'm looking at the heights from that point to the floor runners, and I'm looking at the height of this one here from that point to the floor runner. I think there's more height on that one. So I think I can afford to take that seat off the base where the hinge points are. Might just cut literally along that line there all the way around, and possibly build a small frame off of that with some box steel that I got, and then weld that seat to the box frame once it's been attached to this piece. I don't need this going up or down, left and right. I just don't, it doesn't need to, because that one will do it all. But this seat does jack up in the air quite high, memory serves, although I can't remember how it did it. There you go, that one's busted anyway. So, and that height as it is at the moment is just about adequate, so I don't need it to go up and down, because that is actually quite comfy where it is. I just can't see over the windscreen at the front that well, but we can counteract that with a mirror if we have to. So where's that other seatbelt bracket? There's another seatbelt bracket. I want to see if that will fit the Renault, and that way I can leave that on, but I took one off the passenger. I don't know what I've done with it. Hang on. Let's have a look at this. This is off the passenger centre seat. This one. Yeah, okay, that answers that question. Not a hope in hell. Right. Let's get the grinder out and get on with it. There we go. I've cut the base plate off the other seat, and I've welded it onto two braces onto the actual steel plates that you'd normally bolt through to. So it should be good to go. Anyway, we'll mount that back in, see how that works out. Oh, we've got to change the seatbelt bracketry over as well. Right, that one is in, but I had to take the grab handle away on the side here. It's just down on the floor because all of this catches, so that is something that had to go. But I always grab this one anyway when I get in. I don't grab that one. I've not really got the height to need it, but it's there. And the other problem that I've got is the gear stick itself. That's reverse, you see. So we're going to have to cut the gear stick and send it further out that way so it clears the armrest as well. And the other thing you want to be aware of if you're doing this yourself with one of these is, I don't know if you can see the seat belt down there. I've put the full size bolt in and put a spacer on it. I wish I hadn't now. Actually would do well to cut that bolt and shorten it and get a bit more clearance on that, but it's doing everything that I want it to do. It's comfortable, it feels more luxurious, and everything is working, but the memory buttons might not be an option. As you can see, there isn't enough room on the bulkhead to be pressing them, so I think we're going to disconnect those if I can find a way so I don't accidentally press them, and yeah, not good, but that all works. Up, down, forwards, backwards, up, up. Oh, I don't know if I ruined the airbags with a drill bit. So look. No, perfectly okay. See the backrest blowing out. Now that one, look. And it's releasing. So, success. Battery's about to die. So I'm going to take that other seat out, do some modifications, and then bolt that one in. And then I'll wire the whole lot up properly. And see what we can do about the gear selector, because that isn't going to work the way it is at the moment. Right. Steel case has been removed off this passenger seat. And I've taken exactly 4 inches off. I used this as a guide, so we're good to go. The only thing I'm a bit concerned about is angles. Didn't check for angles, so we might be slapping that hard with a hammer. Not something I had planned, but there you go. So yeah, we've got to get a long bolt made up for here, because I've now, oh, hang on, what have I done? Oh dear. Tell me I haven't put them the wrong way round. Oh no, we've got another point I can use. So that's the outside edge, yeah, that's correct. That's the inside edge, so I have put them the wrong way round, I think. That one should have gone there. I saw that, so I automatically assumed, oh, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem, because I think that one sits on the outside edge. I'm pretty damn sure. Bugger. I have. There it is. That's the one I needed. Needed to be on the outside, not the inside edge. There's your locating hole that goes straight through. Oh, woo. That's because I saw that bracket on the side of the seat. I automatically assumed that was the side that it needed to go on, and the brackets are on both sides. Oh, that's a blinking nuisance, because it needs to be over there. Although, I don't know. If I cut that across there, but then we've got that pin, I need that pin out, because the pin's got to go through that one. Although the alignment might be an issue anyway, so we won't put the pin in, but we will drill that out. So we'll cut it, we'll drill it, we'll slice that off, we'll weld that back onto that side. Hopefully we can get a bolt through there, and we might even be lucky enough to do something with that anyway. Oh, I don't believe I did that. Actually, I do believe I did that. I'm always making stupid mistakes, and I'm not concentrating that much lately. And I'm using 0.8 wire, which is why it's so blobby and heavy, in case anyone points that out. Okay. Right. That's better, isn't it? That is a lot lower than what it was before. It's almost level with the other seat. In fact, I think it might be level with the other seat. So that's where it needed to be. It's 4 inches lower now. But the downside of going 4 inches lower is I couldn't quite get that tubing to sit in properly, so I've had to take it off. Personally, I think 3.5 inches is probably more than enough. But I suppose looking at that straight edge there, it don't matter how low you go, as long as you don't hit this slope here, because then you're really going to be in trouble. So yeah, I chopped 4 inches off its height. Ideally, I could have done with bringing this seat further forward on the rails. So this bit here will stay there. You'll understand when you fit your own to what I'm talking about. Because I've got very little rear movement, but loads of front movement. And that's not the front I want, it's the rear movement. No, it ain't. I got it the wrong way around. Yeah, I know it's sitting on. I'll start again. Cut. So yeah, it's sitting as best as I could get it. I had to cut the tabs off because I put the legs the wrong way around as well, so I had to re-weld that back on, and what a nightmare. One silly little mistake ended up being a nightmare. So it's in, it's all working. Armrests are really comfortable. Compressors are working. We'll push that back. Seat belts are in position. And and the two wires you want is the red and the brown, the big chunky one. I do not know what the rest of these are for. I'm sure there is a heater unit hidden in these seats somewhere. I would very much like to find the wires for that and put a switch on the dash to heat up either one of these seats. So if anybody knows anything about these, please let me know which wires do what, because I don't know. I'm confused at the moment at this point. I've got so much more stuff to do now. I've just got to get the back put back on that one and we're good to go. So that's it, job done. I'm going to upload tonight. You get a bonus video. I am going to say this though. I've noticed one thing that was pointed out. I didn't know how bad it was until Travel Trolls pointed it out, and that is campsites are getting heavily booked up. I mean, I went online, had a look, somebody put a post up on Facebook, 65 quid for an overnight stay. 65 quid. I hope they got a bloody indoor cinema at that price. So this led me to the thinking of, well, this is going to be troublesome, because all the regular vanners that have been doing this for I don't know how long, if they're not aware of it, they're not going to be booking. If they're not booking, they're not getting on campsites, which is why I'm not finishing my truck this year, because I know I won't get on a campsite with it. So what I'm going to do instead is, when I'm out and about, I'm going to take a white sack with me, and if I see, sorry, I'm just looking at everything, if I see vanners park up in the wilds and chuck their rubbish out and ruin it for everybody else, I'm going to jot their registration down on a white bag, and I'm going to physically pick their rubbish up, and then I'm going to leave it tied up in the space they're at, with the hope that council will come along, see the registration and have them for it, because it's antisocial and you and me don't help us. I want to get out on the roads next year, hopefully. And I do want to do wild camping, and I don't want to be peeing people off, and I don't want people looking at me, oh God, there's another one of those guys, I wish they'd clear off, because I'm reading this all over posts, all over Facebook, councils trying to shut down lay-bys and beauty spots and all the rest of it, and you are at the mercy of the locals, and if you start winding them up, you're pretty much going to get into bother, and what we know and love will get pretty much destroyed by the government. Campsites are getting few and far between at the moment. It's getting very difficult to do some bookings in certain towns and areas, so really it's a case of being responsible when you go out. So yeah, that's what I plan to do. I'll probably have some winter holidays this year if I can get this thing done by sort of October time. So that's it really, that's all I've got to say on the subject. I hope you all stay safe, and I hope you enjoy your holidays and all that lot. So I'm going to go. Thanks for the comments on the previous video. I hope this one's been useful to you. I hope you don't make the mistakes I made. It's been a nightmare. So with that, I'm going to clear off. Thank you very much for commenting, subscribing, pressing the like buttons, and I hope to see you next week when we start that slide out floor. Bye bye.